What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the party. Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. Today I wanted to talk about some more Chrono Odyssey. I'm also going to ask you to bear with me because I'm still in the middle of a work day, but I saw some discussion around this, so I wanted to try to get these thoughts out as soon as possible. But about 2 days ago, Chrono Odyssey released a video showcasing the weapon swapping visuals. They say that they're making big improvements, but it's the small details that count too. For those who haven't, be sure to check out the latest developer notes. Now, this wasn't included in the developer notes they had before, but just to comment on this briefly, I do think the before portion was looking pretty rough. There was a stagger in the animation change there, so I'm really glad to see what's going on in the after portion. But under this post, there was some controversy because there were people that were coming out of the woodworks and talking about the weapon swapping aspect and wanting it changed to a single weapon system. Now, I don't usually get into discussions like this because I feel like everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but there's multiple reasons that I feel like this is a bad idea that the developers should not listen to. One of the first examples is we've seen games try to make these drastic changes before based on community feedback and even going against the spirit of the game or what they were trying to create in the first place. But I think the most important detail about this situation, which I think overrules what I just said, is the fact that I don't think Chrono Odyssey is built to handle a single weapon system. Now, one of the comments I saw, and I'm not going to showcase these ones because I don't want to call anybody out, but one of the comments I saw mentioned something along the lines that Chrono Odyssey was trying to be like every other MMO with the weapon swapping system. I feel like people forget that even with the dozen or so MMORPGs that released in the past 10-12 years that have the weapon swapping system, there's still a long list of MMORPGs that released back in the day and are still releasing. Do you guys remember making a game list on MMORPG.com to see how many MMOs there were or which ones you hadn't played yet? I do, and there was crazy amounts of them. I think right now the only thing is that for action combat games, people seem to gravitate more towards the weapon swapping system. It's more fast paced and overall people seem to like it. But one thing I do like about Chrono Odyssey, and I've talked about this before, is even though we have the weapon swapping system, you still have that class identity. If you play a Berserker, you know that you'll only have access to those 3 specific weapons, and you can't just switch to another class's weapons entirely, kind of negating the specialness of your character. So in that sense, Chrono Odyssey is actually being more unique than a game that has weapon swapping and just lets you pick any of the weapons that you want. I think the crux of it comes down to that there's a lot of people, especially right now, who are looking for MMORPGs that are similar to what they're used to, and when they come across a game like Chrono Odyssey, especially with the whole Ashes stuff that just happened, they want to make suggestions to help mold Chrono Odyssey into games they've loved in the past. But I think the problem with that is that not only would a drastic change like this probably shoot us back into like 2027, 2028 for a release date for Chrono Odyssey, but we also don't need to do that. I think if you come to Chrono Odyssey and you don't like the look of the weapon swapping system, I think what a few people are saying is correct, that it might just not be the game for you. There are plenty of MMORPGs out right now, and there's also ones that are coming in the future that are going to have the MMORPG experience you're looking for. Scars of Honor is one that I've been talking about these past few weeks, is one of them. There's other ones being developed in the East. I can't even keep track of how many there are. There's one I think that had mysteries in the name that seemed pretty insane, but there are going to be other MMORPGs that fulfill the specific playstyle that you're looking for if you don't like the weapon swapping system. In the past, I've gravitated more towards games that have a class identity, have a single weapon, and then it wasn't until games like New World that I truly started to understand and appreciate the other side of that coin. And even though you might not like the idea of the weapon swapping system right now, just give it a try when the next testing phase pops up, see if you like it, and then if you don't, maybe there's some suggestions that can be made that still fit with the vision of the game and don't go far off the rails. I think that's the most important thing we can do for the developer right now, because the last thing the developers need right now is for us to make suggestions that are going to knock their development time back another year, another 2 years, and by that time the game might have even more competition and the developer team might have less funding, and then it ends up being a mistake that they have to try to fix over the course of another 6 months or a year, and by that time there's probably going to be more competition and less funding for them. But I think the best thing we can do is give suggestions that fit within the vision of the game that they want to make, and then if it doesn't meet what we're looking for, we just play other games. But let me know what you think about this discussion in the comments below, folks. Thanks so much for watching again. Have a good one.